Hello guys, today I will be doing a different kind of video. We will be talking about tier lists and why you shouldn't follow them blindly. As you can see, I'm on my main account today. I've been playing for almost a month on it. I'm using this account so I can show you and explain some things I mean. Just because someone says a hero is S tier or A tier doesn't mean this applies to your account. What do I mean when I say that? Well, if you go and take a look at Rainer, a lot of tier lists says he's a must-have and he's very good. However, a big point that usually isn't spoken about is when does he become an ST hero? Like, when is he doing the most for your account? Is it when he hits Legendary Plus, Mythic Plus, or Supreme Plus? It also depends heavily on the fight itself. Is there an enemy in the backline who's really strong and you can't reach the hero in any other way or nuke it down fast enough? Yes, then Rainer is a good choice, so you can pick a lineup that will nuke the enemy DPS as soon as it gets teleported to you. At Mythic Plus, he will also deal more damage to the enemy, and he will also knock them down when he teleports them in the start of the fight, and he will also increase the damage taken by 25% till the battle ends. That's really good. So start becoming an ST hero or a really good hero to use when he reaches Mythic Plus. Before that, it all depends on how your account is looking already. So when you're getting advice from videos, random players in the world chat or Discord, you really need to listen to what they are really saying. And if they don't mention when a hero becomes S tier or what situations they are really good at, make sure to ask them, like, show them your account and be like, hey, should I use him in lineup to beat someone in PvP? It might depend on what the PvP is, how the enemy team is looking. He might not be as good. I have PvP battles where people have swapped my Zacess, but they haven't been able to nuke her down anyways. And they have actually failed the fight because of it. And they've been using confining spell that locks down 2 enemies in the back every 12 seconds, so they can't move or act. And then if you have a Rainer, but you can't nuke down the DPS you're swapping or teleporting in, it's really bad. Because then confining spell is just locking down the enemy like tank, but the DPS like my Zacess is just able to stand next to his heroes, entangle them, and then Carlisle and the entangle coming out from the ultimate will just nuke you. And then your backline is dead anyways, while I use my confining spell to stop your DPS from doing damage. So it's really situational. And a lot actually comes down to how lucky you've been in your own wishlist as well. Because even if you are picking the heroes you want, you don't necessarily get them. Like I have had Brutus here for since I started basically. And I haven't gotten a single copy of him. So a lot of people had this happen when they're gone for a lot of ruins, and then you don't have any other DPS. So you really need to know when you're gonna swap out heroes, when they reach their like max potential for now for your account as well. That's why I think Rowan is a really good comparison to this, because in the beginning you only kind of need one of him, and then hopefully you get more DPS. And his potential is actually unlocked when you reach Mythic Plus, because that's when he gives physical and magic defense when he uses potions on an ally. But you also need more heroes for him to be really good. Like, if you get a lot of him in the beginning, but you don't get a Zacess, or if you have Carolina, or if you have a Rise, or a Vala, then he won't be able to do as much anyways. Because then the only one you have ranked highly is him. Sure, you will be a lot more tankier, but your overall team won't be as great as well. So you need to know those small things when you need to swap a hero out from the wish list, or when you need to focus them more. Epic recruitment is really important. Some people will probably comment on this, like, why are you having a OD in here? Like, I've gone all in on an OD and I want to try and get him to S+. But having good wishlist when it comes to epic recruitments is so important for your account, because here you have more of an option to be like, oh, I want a random of these 5 heroes. So here is the heroes you really want to focus. Put them in here, and you have high odds of getting them. And now I'll go into Arena, and hopefully find some examples where people have been using Rainer. So here we have a Rainer, and he's using Confining Spell. Let's see what happens. So what we could do is put my CC over there. I don't really need a Vala, so I'm gonna put in Thoran instead. He will be a bit more tanky. And I'm gonna put Ronan over there. And now we will see what happens when he just swaps over. Like, my Temesia will tank this Vala. And he has a Temesia as well, so he will probably charge my CC as well. But it should be fine. Like, now my CC is on the back line, and the auto attacks is just nuking and entangling. They have Rowan dead. Rainer, Vala died. So that is a great example, like, why a Rainer just randomly in a hero composition can be bad for you. Here I found another Rainer. His positioning is kind of okay with this Rainer, because it will swap my Cecia over and swap in with the Rowan, and he will have the Sylvina jump over, so the Rowan can run over and heal the Sylvina and defeat it. But I could just try and swap it over, and now the Sylvina will just jump on my Lucius while my Rowan can heal the Lucius. So there's so many ways to play around this, and the Vala will attack my Temesia. Sure, when he's attacking, he can position it differently, so he gets benefit. But this is just one of the ways where he just throws it in, and he could probably do more stuff with Cecia, Caroline. Who else could he go for? He could go with a Viperian. Really nice as well. New King. So let's just see how it goes. My Cecia getting swapped. No one attacking my Cecia. My Lucius just shielding up. My Cecia getting ult off. Killing Rainer. His heroes getting entangled. And stuck with the confining spell. Like, I don't think, unless you have a really strong team overall and a really good Rainer, that you should put him in your defensive lineup at all. And here we have another Rainer. That one is positioned way better. But since he doesn't have a confining spell, I don't need to use my CCA to go over there. I will just have my CCA stay here. And instead I will just swap over my Temesia. The only bad thing about swapping over Temesia is that the Temesia will just keep on running out of the fight. But let's see how it goes. I have confining spell, it just locked down the enemy backline as well. So when the Vala jumps away, it will lock the Cecia and the Rainer. Temesia charges out of the arena. And the Rainer putting my CCI in another dimension. It doesn't really matter.
Well, victory is deserved.
And sometimes when you have like nuking heroes like Vala and Rainer just teleports the other hero to another dimension. I have that happen in other fights, where they put my CCI in another dimension and the Carlisle just wrecked their backline and their DPS couldn't target my hero. So I'm just gonna do the same thing again. where I put the Temesia to run in. This guy actually have Confining Spell. So I just changed my positions a little bit. He has Confining Spell, so it will hit Rowan and Cecia. I could probably position it better, but I just want to show you with the swap how badly it can punish you. So the enemy Rowan will be swapped over, and he won't be able to give his energy and heal the enemy or heal his team. Like no heals for his foreign. Sure, so the Temesia got some heals, but he didn't give energy to anyone.
Well, victory is
And once again, sure, they are being defensive, and I get to pick the outcome of the fight before it starts, basically. So unless you really mess up, you're gonna win those fights. And that's just one of the things. Like people say he's so good in PvP. He probably is, but probably not until you reach Mythic Plus. And it's also when you get to choose, when you're attacking, who you want to swap, how you want to disrupt the enemy lineups. So me doing all those attacks and showing you in arena how badly it can go. And I don't really want to do more attacks in arena where I can use him to my benefits, cause I don't really have a lot of heroes that synergizes with him in a very good way. But what it could be used for is finding those backline heroes, swapping them in if you have like a melee heavy team, or having someone that can nuke them really fast. Or if you want like Sylvina to jump on a hero, but it isn't possible, then you maybe can swap out the hero that's next to it, so the Sylvina will attack the hero you want to attack. Of course, he got a lot of benefits as well, but we saw one of the major flaws. And I think there is a lot of people that do this in like normal PvE fights as well, out in the world or in the AFK stages, where they're just putting Rainer in because they heard he's an S tier hero. But you really need to think about what he's benefiting. What can I do? Don't get stuck because people being like, oh, you need Rainer, and then you're like, oh, how do I use Rainer? Find the fights where he's good in, and where you can use him to benefit your team. So this was basically just a rant to think about how tier list works, when a hero is good, learn more about the specific heroes, like what are the benefits, what are the flaws, and how you can use them to benefit your account the most. I have a great example of this in the current Primal Lord. We are at Bear right now. The example I want to bring up is actually a suggestion from the game itself. Like you see here, it's beefy tank, and it's like, oh, you can use foreign, and you can use merrily. But what I did instead of using these heroes that's suggested here, I put in my Entendre. So instead of picking one of the beefy tanks it's suggested there, because I don't have the Mauler tank that they suggested as well, I put in Entendre. And this was actually a team I was using. What it did for me was actually increase my damage with about 1,000,000. Because all of a sudden I got 4 faction bonus, and that just made such a difference. Because it gave me more HP, it gave me more attack. So even the game is sometimes tricking you, and it all depends on your account and how it's looking. You might have other heroes that boosted even more or ascended even more. So you need to find a way how to utilize your account depending on the situation, and not just stare blindly at the tier list and suggestion the game makes. Unless you have leveled them up
you desire an
to where they are
audience.
really good, like
What do you offer?
often these boost comes when you reach Mythic Plus, and you can upgrade the exclusive equipment. The heroes sometimes just doesn't give you what you need in those fights, and you can benefit more using other mythic heroes that you actually been able to ascend. So don't get tricked by tier lists. Try and think what your account can do instead if you don't have those heroes upgraded to where they become really, really good. And use the heroes you have. That's my best advice I can give you. Use the heroes you have, use the or the wish list to reach the heroes you want to upgrade later on. Like, this isn't my heroes, I just changed these to show you a wish list that a lot of people start with or is kind of recommended. And just focus on those heroes. And in Epic Recruit, pick the heroes that's gonna change your account the most if you can upgrade them. Like, I have Smoke in here. Barely gotten any copies of him, but I need him badly. And like I said earlier, Otis in here because I just want to max him out to S+. It isn't the best to do. I should probably go for other heroes, but it's something I choose to do. And I don't recommend you guys doing it. Because it's better for your account if you upgrade more heroes, but then you also need to know what the heroes do and how to use them. But thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.